So, you guys, I wanted to come on and give my opinion on a couple things on this recent Braxton Family Values show. And to be completely honest, they shouldn't have came back, and it's given they're using their sister for a storyline. But is y'all ready to talk about it? Because I got some opinions on this. Let's juice.
Come on, Blazer.
It's a beef for me.
Wah, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo Doll TV, back with a quick little juice or whatever the case may be. And before I get into anything, I just want to stop, pause, and say this. First of all, rest in peace to the beautiful Tracy Braxton. You were gone too soon. It was a shocker to the world when they announced that you passed. Everybody was grieving this loss. We had no idea you were going through what you were going through. I'm so glad that you were surrounded by family and friends and all of your loved ones, and you were able to spend the last days of your life around love. So I want to say rest in peace to this beautiful, beautiful person, Tracy Braxton. I think you were the most misunderstood sister out of them all, and I think that you're gone too soon. So my condolences to the Braxton family, also to Tracy's husband and her son. And I just wanted to make sure I add that in before I started speaking about anything in relation to this show. So once again, rest in peace, beautiful. You will be missed, and you are truly missed as we speak right now. Rest in peace. So now to get into this, if you guys have been living under a rock, let me get you from up under there. The Braxton Family Values has decided to return. Honestly, after Tracy was not here anymore, I never thought I would see the show come back. I mean, when you really think about it, this show really, to me, it needed all of the sisters. Everybody was unique in what they brought to the table. It wasn't a one person that was kind of the star of the show. All five of these girls were needed for this show. So when it was recently announced that they decided to bring the show back, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of like a different feeling. I was kind of like, well, why? It's done. You've done many, many seasons. Without Tracy, it's not going to be the same. That's literally what I was saying. But nevertheless, they decided to bring the show back. And I don't know, what are they on? Episode 3, 4, or 5? I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes in. And most of the storyline is literally about the loss of Tracy, them grieving, and also little Kevin. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I know the other girls have things going on. And I also understand them grieving the loss of their sister and also, helping their nephew get through his grief. But what confuses me, especially surrounding all of the drama that's been going on behind the scenes with Tamar and all these other things, and Tawanda having beef with Tamar and they don't even talk. I'm wondering, was this a money grab, or were you guys coming back because you really just wanted to come back? I'm super, super confused. And I get it. One of them, I forgot which one, did say that Tracy wanted them to, show everybody how she lived. And that's fine, but it's giving you guys are squeezing this thing out. And then the whole situation with little Kevin, that's Tracy's son, and his grief and him battling back and forth with his father. It's super, super weird, and I don't particularly like it. But what I did, in order to only speak about the parts that I want to talk about, because I will not be reviewing this show weekly, I decided to cut the pieces that I want to talk about and give you my opinion on what's happening in the scene. So let's get into some of these scenes and what I think about what's going on in them. So before we get into the actual scenes, I did want to bring this part up. Tracy has been married, or had been married, to her husband since 1996. They've had their ups and downs. I've seen a lot of that on the show. It's been a lot that Tracy probably told her sisters and her family, in times of her not being happy with her husband. And I think that with family, they hold on to those things. But ultimately, they were married at the moment that she passed, right? Now, typically when someone passed, their spouse is the next of kin. If you are married, typically your spouse is the next of kin and they take care of everything. But I think the issue here is Tracy wanted her son to be in charge of everything and all of her wishes, as far as her not wanting a funeral. And then the husband stepped in and did what he wanted anyway. And here we are. Now, as far as the family is in it because they feel like he went against her wishes and how could he? And he's just jealous of the son. And we'll get into that as well. But I did want to show you guys the long line and the long history of this couple and to remind you guys that they've been married for years and years and years. And no matter what others may think, that is and still was her husband, okay? Now, the husband has been speaking out. His name is Kevin. Kevin has been speaking out via social media because he feels isolated by the family. He says that he's only doing what he thought was best for him and his wife and his wishes. And a lot of people are having issue with that. And as some people should, I understand, because she literally left a will in her right mind to her son and have her son take care of everything. And it seems that the problem is Kevin Sr. felt the way about it, the fact that she put everything in her son's hand, and then he overstepped the wishes of Tracy, saying that she didn't want to have a funeral or a memorial. She just kind of wanted to be cremated and be done with it. But her husband decided that he wanted to have a funeral, and maybe there were conversations that happened outside of us that I'm not knowing about or I'm not privy to. Ultimately, her wishes were not carried through because her husband stepped in. Now, before I get into a little bit of what Kevin Sr. had to say, I wanted to ask this question and pose it to the audience because maybe you guys are more, versed or educated on this thing than me. But this is my question. If Tracy has a will and she leaves it to someone other than her spouse, which legally the spouse is the next of kin, but let's just say for all intents and purposes, what she actually did was she had a will, she left it to her son, but then the father, which is her husband, came in and overstepped that. Is that legal? Is that legal? Because it seems to me as if the son just kind of stepped back, not wanting to interfere with his father and the wishes that he had, even though he knew that his mom didn't want a funeral. I'm just posing a question. But nevertheless, just to give y'all a little backstory about this funeral thing, the sisters are saying that they're mad with Kevin because he ended up having a funeral anyway, even though she did not want one. It was in her will, in her wishes. And they said they spoke to Tracy even when she was in sound mind and body. And he still went on and had this funeral anyway. And we'll get into that in just a second. But I want to get into what's going on in Kevin's life, Kevin Sr. at least. He is saying that he has been isolated from the family and he's really trying to cope with the loss of his wife. And he's just grieving at this moment. Y'all check it out.
And yes, Tracy was definitely a true gift. Hey, what's up, John? Hey, Fawn, I see you. I thank God that I had the level of support. Because, man, brothers and sisters, let me tell you, you never know until you know. You know what I'm saying? And it's all good. You know what I mean? Because I feel like my wife got the healing that she needed to go through what she went through. And the sacrifice to go with that is everything. So I just wanted to share with you guys, and there's still more to give. I never lived in Baltimore, baby girl. I live in, we've always lived in the DMV. DC area, but I thank God we had like so many levels of like family. I use my Masonic family, I use my MC family, I use just our regular social existence family. Like I see Miss Bland on here, I see Fawn, I see people on here that was always there on a regular, picking up the phone, saying, "What's up, y'all good?" On just a regular level. So right now, and I still have that. I still have it, and I'm thankful. I'm very thankful to still have that existence. That's what keeps me, because I got to be strong for my son, because he's going through so much. And I just want y'all to know that family values is real. You know what I mean? And it's important that you just truly just understand. And I'm going to take on some requests in a minute. Give me a minute, y'all. I really just want y'all to understand, man, always build a village around you, because you never know. Just pour into people. And see, people that knew me and Tracy, that knew us, that's met us on that level, it is no question. No question. No hesitation. No question. All good. Thank you, true God. I appreciate that. And the prayer has been a powerful thing for me. People don't understand it. Prayer has been a powerful thing for me. That's why.
All right, you guys heard that. And that was one of the live, or a little piece of the live that he did, talking about how he had to lean on other people outside of the Braxtons because apparently they were not supporting him in his time of bereavement. Now, Kevin Sr. really put in the fact that he had to rely on his Masonic family and all these other families. And that's why he's saying you guys need to build a village because you never know. I caught the dig talking about family values are real, all these different things. And to be honest, I understand both sides. Maybe the sisters feel like you went against my sister's wishes, so therefore we're just cutting you off. Or maybe he feels like at the end of the day, it was still your sister and also my wife. You should have been there to support. I get both sides. But at the end of the day, it seems as if this was an easy relationship to cut off from the family because they literally just like snipped it and moved on. And Kevin has done multiple lives speaking and talking about how he's basically doing his own thing. Some of them honestly look like he was still grieving and, kind of lonely and things of that nature. There was one where he was fishing. I kind of peeked in on that and he was just by himself talking about how he needed silence and peace. It's a lot. And this is so complex. And unfortunately, very common in the Black community. Y'all know soon as somebody passed, everybody fighting and everybody beefing. That's just unfortunately the way we are as a culture. But ultimately, I just wanted to put that in so y'all can kind of get a little bit of how he's feeling or how he was feeling during the time of the loss of his wife. Now, Kevin Sr. also went on a podcast and spoke about his wife. And he said a couple things that I wanted you guys to hear. Y'all check this out.
And my wife said something to me that I would never forget. She said, as I was growing up, I never saw my mother and father make up. She said, I didn't know how to do that because I had never seen from which I came demonstrate that. So there were breakdowns as life went on. And then they were groomed to be this family, and they turned into a very good worldly figure, but the other things didn't go with it. Communication. They knew how to communicate amongst each other. So the ground floor of us is a key to our existence from which we came. And so to me, with that, it's important to have good communication, build that. And it's constant. It's constant roller coaster rides, valleys and peaks, but you got to be in it. And so everybody would look at my marriage and be like, man, I wouldn't stay in that marriage. First of all, me and her made a life. You and I didn't make a life. And me and her did our best. You got to have a foundation that's created, and you got to have one big thing, and that's a forgiving heart.
So y'all heard that, and that was one thing I really wanted to point out in what he said. He spoke about how when him and his wife would have an issue or whatever the case, basically she didn't know how to have a forgiving heart because she'd never seen it in her family between her mama and her daddy. And everybody has been saying they believe Miss Evelyn and her disdain for their dad, even to this day in 2024, is part of the reason why a lot of these girls, if not all of them, can't have lasting relationships. Now that I think about it, none of them have had successful relationships. Like, none of them. And it's very, very telling that your environment plays a huge role in how you are in life. It just does. And I think that I agree with most people when I say Miss Evelyn is part of the blame as to why these girls are like this. Now, like he said, they were groomed to be the family, but they never really took care of the things that they needed to in order to be successful in their personal lives. That was a word, man. And again, I don't know. I wasn't in their marriage, even though her sisters may know a couple things about what was going on in their marriage. They don't know all the details of their marriage. They just don't. And I think that when it comes to something like this, it's a very tricky subject and a very tricky thing to touch because when you're on the outside of someone's marriage, it's kind of like, who are you? Rather you the mama, the daddy, the sister, the brother, who are you to that union? So I just wanted to show that to you to give you context from his point of view, where he's coming from. And now we're going to get into the funeral, that he threw for his wife. And none of the Braxton sisters apparently showed up. Let's check it out.
I want to thank everybody, first and foremost, for just celebrating with us. Tracy was my everything. She was my, I would say dream girl. I would say my 42. I would say my love in basketball. I would say, I'd say my Tammy Faye. That they had a unique, and she just was all of it. So to hear everything that was said today just magnifies the life that we lived. And that's what we wanted to, put out there. Tracy was in my life more than many. And what I mean by that, for 29 years, we was together. 29 years. The other day I woke up, I think it was the 7th of March, I woke up and I just wanted to hear her snore. I wanted to hear her, because at this point she wasn't talking. I wanted to just hear her fuss at me. Something to that extent. I just wanted to feel her. It was so much. And so that was, on that day, I really felt it. And I asked God just to give me strength to be everything I can.
Okay, so that was just a little piece from the memorial/funeral that they did. Like I said before, the Braxton sisters did not show up. But as you can see, her son was there. It seems like the rest of their family was there. And again, this is all happening because Kevin Sr. wanted to, even though Tracy literally left her son in charge because she literally did not want her husband to do something like this, which was completely against her will and her wishes, which is have a funeral. Now, I have to play devil's advocate on this. He is her husband. And what we got to understand is funerals are not for the dead. Funerals are for the people who are still here. Maybe this was some closure that he needed. I'm not sure. Or maybe he was just being a you-know-what, saying, I'm the husband. I don't care what she left in her will. I'm in charge, so I'm going to do what I want to do. It could be either or. I'm not here or at liberty to say which one it is. However, what I will say is it was a beautiful service from the looks of it, but ultimately, if Tracy would not have wanted that, it's unfortunate, but if her son never stepped up and intercepted, then it just was what it was. Remember, this is the man that Tracy chose to spend 29 years with. That's a long time to spend with anybody. So my heart just goes out to the whole situation. But I wanted to show you this because this is why we're here on this particular episode. Now, on this episode, they are losing their mind because the family wants nothing to do with Kevin Sr. because they say that basically he went against her wishes. The son is between a rock and a hard place, going through a divorce himself. And he's grieving the loss of his mother. He was the only child. Not that it makes it worse or better. I'm just saying he is losing everything, it seems, right now. And again, my heart goes out to this young man. But we're going to get into that portion of the episode that I wanted to speak about. So check this out. So in this portion of the episode, Trina and Tawana takes little Kevin out. They want to kind of see how he's been. He's kind of been distant from everybody. They know he's going through a divorce and they're like, hey, what's going on, nephew? We want you to know that as family, we're here for you if you need us, but you never call us. And we know you have a lot on your plate with just losing your mother and everything of that nature. Now, Kevin is responding to these people saying, listen, I get it. You guys are my family. I love you. I know that I can depend on you, but he kind of wants to deal with things himself because he says, as a man, I don't want to be dependent on my aunts and my family to make sure that I'm okay. And I understand what he's saying and I understand how he feels. You know, most men do think like that. Like, I want to make sure that I can take care of myself. I want to be the person in charge. But I think he's kind of missing the bigger picture of having that support system around him. But ultimately, Kevin Jr. is a grown man with a wife going through a horrible divorce, according to the aunts and everything. And this could be a lot on anybody. But he's choosing to do things his way. But on the flip side, I do understand Trina and Tawana and their concern for their nephew. But I do want to say this. You make it harder for him to have to deal with this because you're not speaking to his father. And some people will feel like, well, I don't have to deal with him. That's his daddy. That's not my brother-in-law no more. My sister's gone. I get that. But you have a child that's literally between a rock and a hard place. He's lost his mama. He's going through a divorce. He has an estranged relationship with his father, and his aunts want nothing to do with his father, which is the other half of his parents. So this right here is a lot for anybody to take on. To be completely honest, I would never want to be in these shoes, and my heart goes out to the young man. And I feel like everybody's thinking about themselves and nobody is putting Kevin Jr. in their thoughts. Nobody's putting him first in this situation. Now, Tawana and her boyfriend were there as well, and Tawana wanted to reassure Kevin Jr. that, hey, listen, I understand your father did this funeral that was against your mother's wishes, and I feel so bad for you because she definitely left you in charge. Now, let me just say this. Tawana, you a bald head bitch. I'm sorry, I was supposed to be professional on this, but I gotta say this part. Tawana, why is you beating down a dead horse? The boy already know that his daddy done messed up. But here come Tawana. Yeah, because your mama left you in charge and nothing was wrong. Listen, Tawana is putting her feelings before anybody else's. It's hard to talk to any child about their parent, good, bad, or indifferent. You cannot do that. And I think it's very selfish for whatever personal issue she have with that boy's father to sit him there and be like, cause your mama left you in charge and he had no right to give her this funeral. Girl, shut your bald head ass up, alopecia. And I'm saying that because I don't believe she got alopecia and I said it. But anyway, Trina is trying to be the voice of reason, trying to talk to him again. And I'm over here saying the boy is really going through so much. None of them know what he's going through. None of them could even relate to what this young man is going through. But everybody's all down this boy's throat. I just think it's not fair. But what I will give Kevin Jr. is the fact that he admits that, this is a lot that I'm going through. But he also, he just wants to handle things his way. And it may not be the best for us or for them or however anybody in the audience feels, but his way is his way. He'll come around. He knows he has a support system. He'll come around whenever he needs it, and they're asking him, what does he need? And at this point, I still think that he feels like he may need some time. And that's perfectly okay. Everybody else has to get with that, okay? Everybody else has to get with the idea that he just might need a little time. Now, I love that Tracy's dad was at this dinner and they were able to, kind of talk to little Kevin and basically tell him, as a family and as a man, I want you to know that we love you and we're here for you no matter what it is you need. And he kind of basically told him, don't kind of shun us away. Just kind of, reach out and grab the help that's right there for you. Even the brother came in and spoke about, now this is Tracy's brother. The brother came in and spoke about how he understands the dynamics between parents and kids. He's like, because even with my kids, I'm pretty sure their mother talks to them about me and say things, you know what I mean? And not in a disparaging way, but he's pretty sure that the relationship between him and his mother is different from the relationship between Lil Kevin and his father. And he understands that they may have had private conversations, but ultimately, he's here for him as well. But to be completely honest, if I was any of the sisters, I would make sure I keep in touch with Kevin Jr. and just, offer that support where I can. I honestly, because at the end of the day, he is a man now. He's not a child. He's a man. So you got to give him respect for that. Now, I want to move to this scene. Now, in this scene, Trina takes Kevin Jr. to her mother's attorney or whoever was over her estate and will when she was alive, right? And she wants Kevin Jr. to hear from her estate person or the attorney what exactly his mother's wishes were and basically how she felt. Now, Kevin Jr. literally asked the guy, he's like, hey, so it's been said, whispers has been happening that maybe my dad feels like my mom only did what she did and said what she said and wrote that will. Maybe she wasn't in her right mind. And he wants to get clarification from this man. What was going on with my mother? How did she really feel? And did she really want things to go the way that she put in this will? Which is a very, very valid question. So the guy explains, listen, first of all, I've been to your mother's house multiple times. She's cooked for me. I've recorded every single conversation. And I can tell you this, whenever they drafted up her will, she was always in her right mind. Actually, it was before she even got super sick. And then ultimately, she made sure that I knew that she wanted you to be in charge of her estate and her will and everything else if anything should happen to her. Now, this speaks volumes because even if Kevin Sr. has an issue saying that maybe she wasn't in her right mind when she wrote the will, if this guy has recordings and all these documentation to show that that lady was in her right mind, then Kevin Sr. is going to have to just step aside. And I know it's hard for a husband to do, but that's just the facts of the matter. It's something about Tracy that did not trust her husband to where she went down and made a will and testament that says everything is to be handled by her son and not her husband. See, what we're not going to do is act like people aren't in marriages and be in long-term marriages and they really realize they love their husband or they love their wife, but I don't trust that my wife or my husband is going to do the things that I want, which is probably why she put everything in her son's name. Those are the facts. You know what I mean? Well, those are what I think could be the issue, because why would she skip over her husband to put everything in her son's name? And I'm so happy that Kevin Jr. got that like assurance about his mom's wishes, because even he said out of his own mouth, he was like, my mother spoke to me before and told me out of her own mouth that she wanted me to take care of everything or anything in any event that she passed. So he has heard it from his mother and now hearing it from her estate holder. Yeah, it's all the same. So I think that that's super important for Kevin Jr.'s closure, because I get it. He probably didn't want to go against his father when they were doing the whole funeral thing. He probably wanted to give his father the opportunity to have his grieving, session or whatever. But I'm pretty sure he felt the way about it as well. But ultimately, that reassurance from the estate person really tells us everything we need to know. Now let's move on. So now Tawana and her boyfriend goes over to Trina and her husband's house because they want to get the tea on how it went down over at the will executor or the estate person. Y'all, I don't know the name of this person, but they wanted to get the tea of how everything went. Now, what I took away from this scene was Trina basically tells them, hey, y'all, we went down there. It actually went really, really good. She said we were even able to get him to assure Kevin Jr. that this is exactly what, his mother wanted. It wasn't anything under duress. She wasn't not in her right mind. This is what she wanted. And I really appreciated that for Kevin Jr., right? Now, Conehead was over here hollering, and that's right, because I know one thing, my sister wanted this and my sister wanted that. Again, I get it, that's your sister, but she has a son and a husband. First and second of kin. You wouldn't even fall in line of third of kin. Because the mother would do that. Like, stop it, Conehead. So now this is when Trina drops the bomb. Trina was like, so girl, what I really, really appreciated was how Kevin Jr. told us that basically he had to tell his dad, you married into the family. I was born into it. So he knows his relevance and, he's stepping like a big dog, on all 10 behind his, his place in this family. And she was super proud about that and doesn't understand why Kevin Sr. can't get that. Now, Tracy is like, exactly. I told him, but I feel like, again, this is something that is Tracy's personal issue with Kevin Sr. And it could be for right reasons, because we all know they didn't have the best marriage. But ultimately, girl, it is not your place. It's just not. And it is in my belief that Tawana ain't doing nothing but causing a rift between her nephew and his daddy. Because, y'all in the boy ear all the time. That's literally the only thing that could happen. Now, I have to call this thing fair. I will say I do believe what Tawana says when she says that Kevin Sr. is jealous that lady, Tracy, left everything in the hands of her son and not him. I believe that. Yeah. I do believe that. I believe that Kevin Sr. looked at the situation and felt a way that his wife didn't leave him in charge of anything. He's already spoken about he had to move out the house and all types of things of that nature. I think that he felt as a man, I think it hurt his pride and hurt him as well. So I will say I'll side with Tawana on that, but I just would not draw a wedge between my nephew and his daddy. That's the only parent he have left. Nevertheless, things take a turn for the worse because according to Trina, production literally come to her and asked her, hey, would you mind filming a scene with Kevin Jr., Kevin Sr., and your father? And this sends Tawana over the hill. She does not like this. She confronts the doggone production. Y'all check this out.
Earlier today, production wanted Lil Kevin to film with his dad and our dad. But I'm not sure what that was going to... Wait a minute. Because I'm going to be honest. I made it very clear. I'm not trying to give a platform for his dad to film in any way, shape, or form.
Why y'all want him to have a... Where OG? Where OG at? Where OG? OG!
I'm coming.
Why would y'all want him to be on the show? I'm asking. This is a question. This is for real.
Why would we want?
I'll wait. Yeah.
Because to me, honestly, this is the Braxtons, and what this is about is y'all. So if you guys ain't okay with it, then it's not gonna happen. We're together.
Never. By no means do I ever want that individual to have any type of platform on our platform ever again.
Won't happen, all right?
Listen, don't push me.
All right, y'all heard that. I have this to say about this. Listen, when Trina dropped the bomb that production wanted all three of them to film, I don't quite understand why Tawana was so upset. I really don't. Now, again, there could be a horrible backstory to this. I really don't get it. But ultimately, Tawana is acting like she is the tell-all be-all. Like, everything goes through her. Oh, it'll never happen. Well, first of all, you got to get everybody's opinion. First of all. Secondly, why wouldn't he come on and explain his side of the story? Is it about cutting a bag for him? Like, what is this about? There's something deeper going on here that these girls are not saying. Because the fact that Tawana is so adamant, she was even mad with production, and I don't understand why he's just taking her word. He needs to be speaking to everybody, not just Tawana. Tawana don't run the show. It's not like she's like the head EP or something like that. No, I didn't appreciate that. And she's talking about he'll never get a platform on this show. What is going on, Tawana? Either spill the tea, spill the beans, and let us know what he got a woman over there or something. What is going on to where you very, very adamant about this man not being able to tell his side, which I think is unfair. I think we need to get everybody's side. But ultimately, what is going on? And I don't know what's going on with the other sisters, but they need to have a meeting and figure out what they're going to do moving forward. Because I know that's y'all's sister, but y'all are dragging his wife as well for the last 3 to 4 episodes. At least allow him the opportunity to come back and say yay or nay or what's going on from his point of view. Why are they silencing this man? Why? And I know I saw in a preview she's going to be like, they don't really want me to spill it and tell what's going on. Tell it or shut up and let the man give his side. I don't know. What y'all think about this? Am I wrong? Do y'all think that he shouldn't be allowed to come back on the show? Because none of us really know what happened. And maybe y'all do and I don't. Y'all can put it in the comments. But I think that it's unfair to literally say that he doesn't get a platform and he doesn't get a say. And who the hell is Tawana? I am so looking forward to you guys' thoughts on this. Drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all think. It's very hard to call this thing because we don't know all the details. But unfortunately, this is surrounding Tracy's not being here and it sucks. Drop down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all platforms, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.